Why didn't Batman and Superman use real capes? What was originally supposed to feature instead of the Nightcrawler? And why did Ezra Miller use a treadmill for his running scenes? Hi, I'm Dylan, and you're tuned into Awesome Movies. Superman vs. the Justice League. Superman's resurrection saw him taking on the other superheroes in what's commonly referred to as the Heroes Park Battle. This powerful, intense action spectacle was an opportunity to show off all the superpowers on display, from super speed to flight and raw power. Naturally, this required some assistance as the crew used visual effects where possible and relied on CG for the rest. A really cool part sees them use a type of circular harness to keep a hold of the Flash in the midst of his fight with Superman. While it might look odd without context, it actually came out pretty good in the movie. At the same time, a behind-the-scenes look shows that this setting doesn't exist in the real world, but is just another built set for the film. It'll be interesting to see how the Snyder Cut fits this scene in, since Zack Snyder has revealed that he had different plans for Superman's resurrection from what was seen in the theatrical cut. Hopefully, we get to see more of the Man of Steel laying out his teammates. Not all heroes wear capes. The fact that the Flash, Aquaman, Cyborg, and Wonder Woman don't wear capes says it all. You don't need to have a flapping piece of fabric in the wind to be super. In the case of Superman and Batman, though, you kinda expect them to wear capes. Of course, in Justice League, you see them parading around and sporting some of the slickest apparel we've ever seen, but those capes weren't always real. In fact, they're mostly CGI in the action scenes. If it sounds shocking, it shouldn't be, since it's a practice done in most comic book movies nowadays. The reason for it is actually quite simple. While filming, a cape can be a hindrance or even a danger to an actor or stunt performer. Imagine an actor gliding through the air and the cape flies over their face or gets stuck in a hook or something. Yep, that's a disaster waiting to happen. Keeping in mind the safety and practicality of it all, Justice League included capes in the post-production phase of the movie. Look, the fact that no one has complained about it yet means the team did a pretty good job to convince us it was real, right? The bat signal on the rooftop. Despite Batman's gadgetry, which we'll cover a little later on, he's old-fashioned in the sense that he doesn't like using a mobile phone or even using IM. Instead, poor Commissioner Gordon has to flash a light in the sky and hope that the Dark Knight isn't taking a nap and actually sees it. While it's probably the easiest thing in the world to CGI into a film, director Zack Snyder wanted to be authentic to the mythology and created his own bat signal, which we'd seen in Batman vs. Superman before. Reportedly, the bat signal was created using a large, only one-of-its-kind light from England. Then the production team painted it gray to match Batman's colors. While the light was completely real and actually shone the bat signal, the rooftop of the Gotham City Police Department wasn't. Unfortunately, all those beautiful lights in the background and nighttime sky weren't real at all, but some gorgeous computer-generated images instead. Still, it's remarkable to see the amount of effort that went into creating one set piece that played a small part in the movie. How many other filmmakers would have just said, let's CG the whole thing in post? The super stash. Undoubtedly, mustache-gate was the most controversial part of Justice League. You'd think that a dude shaving off his mustache for a movie would be the simplest thing in the world, but the studios just couldn't come to an agreement. Due to Henry Cavill's participation in Mission Impossible Fallout at the time, and his requirement to have a stash for his character August Walker, Paramount Pictures wouldn't allow him to shave off his facial hair for the Justice League reshoots. That meant the visual team had to get creative and digitally remove it. Well, the results were, yeah, you know exactly what happened. Between Henry looking like a merger of Shrek and a character from a PlayStation 1 game, it left many fans disappointed. In an interview with Empire, Henry delved deep into the issues that his mustache caused, but said it was ultimately out of his hands. All he could say was, unfortunately, it led to much dismay when Justice League came out. But that's the nature of these things. You can't win every time. Truth be told, it would have been far easier to add in a mustache than to remove one. But what happened, happened, and no one can change that now. Thankfully, the Snyder Cut promises that all Superman footage won't require the removal of any mustache. Cyborgs PJs. For Ray Fisher, the filming for Justice League was the most comfortable time ever. This is because the armor for his character Cyborg is completely CGI, except for the red lights on his eye and chest, so he had to wear a cool-looking motion capture suit for the better part of the production. Ray told Made in Hollywood, "I'm thinking, this is it? I'm literally in pajamas." But when he saw how hot and sweaty his co-stars were in their bulky superhero attire, he realized he had it far easier than them. I mean, who wouldn't want to spend every single day at work in their pajamas? Though it's easy to see in the theatrical cut of the movie where the filmmakers in studio tried to cut down the CGI for Cyborg, as he wore a hoodie for the first part of the movie. This was likely due to Joss Whedon's reshoots and the pressured time to get the film ready for release. Ray also mentioned that the stars were forced to wear special shoes to ensure their heights didn't differ too drastically on screen. Still, I'm sure that was a small sacrifice to pay since he got to run around in comfortable clothes while everyone else sweated their butts off. The Nightcrawler. Naturally, any film with Batman is gonna feature his toys. And boy does the Dark Knight love his gadgets and vehicles. While Justice League featured the Flying Fox and the Batmobile, it also introduced the Nightcrawler. And no, we're not talking about the famous teleporting mutant from the X-Men. While you might think the Nightcrawler was just another example of computer wizardry, it was actually a mixture of both visual and special effects. In a behind-the-scenes feature, production designer Patrick Tatopoulos said, "The whole top of the craft is built, but the actual legs and all the locomotion are done with CGI. Thanks to the small motion base under it, the crew could adjust the hydraulics and give it the right action or movement necessary for the shot." Shockingly, the Nightcrawler almost didn't make the movie. Originally, the concept artist had proposed a bat cycle for Batman to get around, but Zack Snyder thought it wouldn't reflect the team dynamic of the movie, and they would need something to carry at least 3 of the members. Well, it certainly was one of the coolest parts of the film because you can easily imagine Batman building something so awesome. And the name Nightcrawler is just perfect. The Tunnel Battle. The first time we get to see the Justice League team up is in the tunnel battle under Gotham Harbor. It's here where the League battles Steppenwolf, the parademons, and we witness the Nightcrawler for the first time. That being said, this intricate action sequence is a mixture of both CG and special effects. Visual effects supervisor Brian Hirota explained how they built the set in a behind-the-scenes featurette, saying, "So we had 3 separate environments built over there in London. One for the lower tunnel set, one for the catwalk that they jump across, and one for the machine room where Steppenwolf's holding the scientists hostage." Getting across the catwalk was particularly tricky, as the filmmakers had to hide the fact that the stunt doubles were on a wire. However, when they finally got into the machine room, they spent a lot of time fighting the men in green who'd eventually be turned into parademons in post-production. Many fans compared this elaborate action-packed sequence to the infamous warehouse scene in Batman vs. Superman. It'll be interesting to see if it's expanded upon in the Snyder Cut, since it was arguably one of the best scenes from the theatrical cut of the movie. Enter the Speed Force. When you're zipping around faster than the speed of light, it's a little difficult to represent that on screen. On the Flash TV show, the Speed Force looks more like something out of a video game. But in Justice League, the decision was taken to deliberately slow down the action to show how the Flash moves so fast while everything else around him looks like it's standing still. One of the most talked about aspects about this was Barry Allen's running style, since it looked like he was on roller skates instead of actually sprinting. As it turns out, Zack Snyder had Ezra Miller step onto a fancy treadmill to film the super speed scenes. Discussing what it felt like, Miller told MTV News, "It's 25 feet long, goes up to 45 miles per hour, and it's bouncy like a trampoline. Pretty much a dream come true." Ezra even joked that he didn't know he'd have to do any running in the movie since he thought he'd have a CGI double like the Flash on TV. Goes to show that actors still need to sweat it out even if they receive a little bit of CG assistance. When it comes to a Hollywood blockbuster, there's a lot of movie magic that takes place in the background. The special and visual effects take months to complete, and teams work incredibly hard to deliver the best possible experience for the viewers. Sometimes it's mind-blowing to see what they create and how they convince us that what we're seeing is actually real. But now it's time to hear from you. Were you surprised to see how the team built the Nightcrawler? And what do you think of the Parademon's overall look? Thanks for watching, and don't forget to leave your thoughts in the comment section down below. And while you're at it, give us a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for some more awesome videos.